Hello, everyone, and welcome to the podcast dedicated to helping you unlock your full potential in English. I'm your host, Sarah, and joining me today is the ever-enthusiastic Ben.
Hey everyone! Ready to dive into some actionable tips to boost your English speaking skills? Because let's face it, we all want to communicate clearly and confidently, and that's exactly what we're going to help you achieve today.
Absolutely, Ben. So, get ready to take notes, practice along with us, and most importantly, have fun. Because learning English should be an enjoyable journey, not a daunting task. Our first tip, and perhaps the most crucial, is to embrace imperfection. So many learners hold themselves back because they're afraid of making mistakes. But guess what? Mistakes are an essential part of the learning process.
Couldn't agree more, Sarah. Think of it this way, every time you make a mistake, you have an opportunity to learn and grow. It's like building muscle, you need to push yourself to break down the fibers so they can rebuild stronger.
Exactly. And the more you speak, the more comfortable you'll become, and the fewer mistakes you'll make in the long run. It's a process, and it takes time and practice.
And don't worry about what other people think. Most people are understanding and appreciate the effort you're making to communicate in their language. They're not judging your every word.
That's so true. And honestly, sometimes mistakes can even be funny and lead to interesting conversations. It's all part of the experience. So, let go of the fear of being perfect and embrace the freedom to make mistakes.
Because that's where the real learning happens. It's about progress, not perfection.
Our second tip, and this might seem obvious, but it's absolutely vital. Practice, practice, practice. Speaking English is a skill, and like any skill, it requires consistent effort to improve.
Think of it like learning a musical instrument or a new sport. You wouldn't expect to become a virtuoso overnight, right? It takes dedication and regular practice to see results.
Exactly. And the great thing about practicing English is that you can do it almost anywhere, anytime. You can practice with a language partner, you can talk to yourself in the mirror, you can even practice ordering food at a restaurant.
The key is to find opportunities to speak English as often as possible. The more you use the language, the more fluent you'll become. It's like riding a bike, the more you do it, the easier it gets.
And don't be afraid to try different practice methods. Find what works best for you and stick with it. Consistency is key.
Absolutely. Even short bursts of practice are better than nothing. 5 minutes of speaking English every day is more effective than an hour once a week. It's all about building that habit.
Our third tip is to immerse yourself in the English language. This means surrounding yourself with English as much as possible, even when you're not actively studying.
Think of it like learning a new culture. The more you immerse yourself in it, the better you understand it. The same goes for language learning.
Exactly. And there are so many ways to immerse yourself in English. You can watch English movies and TV shows, listen to English music and podcasts, read English books and articles. The possibilities are endless.
And don't be afraid to start with materials that are at your level. You don't have to jump straight into Shakespeare. Start with something that you find interesting and engaging.
That's a great point. The key is to find materials that you enjoy so that you're motivated to keep learning. It shouldn't feel like a chore.
And don't forget about the power of social media. Follow English speaking accounts, join English language groups, and interact with other learners online. It's a great way to practice your reading and writing skills, and you might even make some new friends along the way.
Our fourth tip is to focus on fluency over accuracy. This doesn't mean that accuracy isn't important, but when you're speaking, it's more important to get your message across than to worry about every single grammar rule.
Exactly. Think about it, when you're having a conversation, you don't have time to stop and analyze every sentence. You need to be able to think on your feet and communicate your ideas quickly and effectively.
And the more you focus on fluency, the more confident you'll become as a speaker. You'll be less afraid to make mistakes, and you'll be able to express yourself more naturally.
And remember, even native English speakers make mistakes. It's all part of being human. The important thing is to keep communicating even if you're not sure you're saying everything perfectly.
That's great advice. And if you do make a mistake, don't dwell on it. Just correct yourself and move on. The more you practice, the more natural it will become. Our fifth tip is to learn phrases, not just individual words. This is a really important point because it will help you speak more naturally and fluently.
Think of it like building a house. Individual words are like the bricks, but phrases are like the walls. You need both to create a strong and stable structure.
Exactly. And when you learn phrases, you're also learning grammar and vocabulary in context. This makes it much easier to remember and use the language effectively.
And it also helps you sound more natural. Native English speakers don't usually speak in individual words, they speak in phrases and sentences.
So, how can learners learn phrases? Well, one great way is to pay attention to the phrases that native speakers use in conversation. You can also watch English movies and TV shows and listen to English music and podcasts.
And don't be afraid to write down phrases that you hear and practice using them yourself. The more you use them, the more natural they'll become.
Our sixth tip is to think in English. This is a big one, and it can be challenging, but it's essential for achieving fluency.
When you think in your native language and then translate into English, you're adding an extra step to the process. This can make you speak more slowly and less fluently.
Exactly. And it can also lead to mistakes, because not everything translates directly from one language to another.
So, how can learners start thinking in English? Well, one way is to try to describe your surroundings in English. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you smell?
Another great way is to try to tell stories or summarize articles in English. This will force you to think in English and use the language creatively.
And don't be afraid to make mistakes. The more you practice thinking in English, the better you'll become at it.
Our seventh tip is to find a language partner. This is a fantastic way to practice your speaking skills and get feedback from another learner.
Absolutely. There are so many resources available online for finding language partners. You can find people who are learning your native language and exchange language lessons.
And the great thing about language partners is that you can practice speaking English in a relaxed and supportive environment. You don't have to worry about being perfect, you can just focus on communicating.
And you can also learn a lot from your language partner. They can share tips and resources with you, and you can learn about their culture and experiences.
It's a win-win situation. And the best part is, you can practice whenever and wherever it's convenient for both of you. No more scheduling conflicts or inflexible class times.
Exactly. It's a flexible and personalized learning experience. And if you're shy about speaking to strangers, you can start by finding a language partner online and gradually progress to face-to-face interactions.
Our eighth tip is to record yourself speaking English. This might sound a bit daunting, but it can be incredibly helpful for identifying areas for improvement.
It's a bit like watching yourself on video. It can be a bit cringeworthy at first, but it's incredibly insightful. You can hear your pronunciation, your intonation, and even your pacing.
Exactly. You might notice that you're using filler words like, or like, too often, or that you're speaking too quickly and tripping over your words.
And then you can work on addressing those specific issues. You can practice speaking more slowly and clearly, or you can try to eliminate those filler words.
Recording yourself can also help you track your progress over time. You can listen to older recordings and compare them to your more recent ones. It's amazing how much you can improve in a short amount of time.
And don't worry if you don't have fancy recording equipment. Your smartphone is perfectly fine. Just find a quiet place and start recording.
Our ninth tip is to set realistic goals for yourself. Don't try to become fluent overnight. Set small, achievable goals and celebrate your progress along the way.
For example, you could set a goal to speak English for 15 minutes every day, or to learn 5 new words or phrases each week.
And make sure your goals are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. This will help you stay motivated and on track.
And don't forget to reward yourself for your accomplishments. Treat yourself to something special when you reach a milestone, like a new book, a cup of coffee, or a relaxing evening.
Celebrating your successes, no matter how small, is crucial for staying motivated and maintaining a positive learning attitude.
Absolutely. Positive reinforcement goes a long way. It helps you stay motivated and reminds you that you're making progress.
Our final tip is to find your motivation and keep the spark alive. Learning a language takes time and effort, so it's important to stay motivated and engaged.
Find things that you enjoy about learning English. Do you love watching English movies? Do you enjoy listening to English music? Focus on those things that keep you excited about the learning process.
And remember why you started learning English in the first place. Is it for travel? For work? For personal growth? Connecting with your motivation can help you stay on track, even when things get challenging.
And don't be afraid to seek out support from other learners. Join an online forum, connect with other English language learners in your community, or find a language exchange partner.
Learning a language is a journey, not a race. Enjoy the process, celebrate your successes, and don't give up on your dreams.
That's a great way to wrap it up, Sarah. We hope these tips have been helpful and inspiring. Now go out there and conquer the English language.
Thanks for listening today, and if you found the video helpful and that you're feeling more equipped with these top 10 tips for English speaking, please hit the like button. Make sure to subscribe to my channel so you never miss an episode and share it with others who might benefit. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover in future episodes, we'd love to hear from you, so your feedback is really important to us. Thanks for listening, and as always, happy learning. You're doing great. Bye, everyone.